After an amazing week in Western North Carolina, Choya and I drove up to Virginia. We stopped in Charlottesville where I took her for a walk on the UVA campus. She loved all of the smells and rolling around in the grass. While in Charlottesville, we also got Bodo's Bagels, and of course I had to share some of my bagel with Choya. And I saw a friend of mine for dinner, which was really nice. After stopping in Charlottesville, we headed to Shenandoah National Park. Shenandoah is very dog friendly. Leash dogs are allowed on almost all of the trails. There are a few exceptions, however, most notably Old Rag. We spent our first night at Shenandoah backpacking the Cedar Run White Oak Canyon Loop. You do need a permit for backcountry camping at Shenandoah, which you can acquire online. There is a lot of useful information, including itineraries for different trips, available on the backcountry section of the park website. The first day and night of our backpacking trip was so amazing. I love seeing all of the wildflowers and greenery. This was my first time backpacking in a canyon since I moved from Arizona. I used to go backpacking in the wild canyons of Arizona all the time, so I really enjoyed the experience. Of course, this canyon was much more green than any canyon you'll find in Arizona. While hiking, I saw a snake that I later identified as a northern water snake. Thankfully, Choya did not notice it. After getting camp set up and eating dinner, I read outside until it got dark while Choya relaxed near me. We got some heavy rain overnight, which continued into day 2 of our backpacking trip. It was cool to see the creek and all of the waterfalls gushing, but Choya and I got very wet while hiking out of the canyon. After our backpacking trip, we got settled into our Airbnb near Luray, Virginia. I had a lot of work to do in terms of getting things cleaned up and dry after the trip. My girlfriend came down from New Hampshire to meet us at Shenandoah. The one hike she really wanted to go on was White Oak Canyon, so we hiked that from the top down on our 3rd day at the park. This meant that we hiked some portions of White Oak Canyon Trail that we had hiked the day prior. However, I didn't mind this because the weather was so much nicer. It was like night and day. When we hiked out of the canyon on our backpacking trip, I didn't stop that much because it was raining pretty hard. It was also really humid and foggy, and my camera lens kept getting fogged up. However, when we hiked the canyon again in the sunshine, we stopped many times to enjoy the scenery and take photos, which was really nice. We also had a very leisurely lunch by one of the waterfalls. Unfortunately, we didn't have great weather for the rest of our time at Shenandoah, and Choya was pretty tired anyway. We went on some short hikes and also did some activities without Choya, like visiting a winery in Stanley, Virginia, where we befriended the barn cat. I tried to give Choya as much time as possible to rest in our Airbnb, which ended up working out because, again, the weather wasn't great and I was able to finish one of the books I'm reading. When there was a break in the weather, I took Choya for a really nice walk along the Luray Hawksbill Greenery. Choya seemed to really enjoy going on a more low-key walk as opposed to a hike. I saw a black-crowned night heron, a belted kingfisher, and this really cute mallard family. My girlfriend had to go back to New Hampshire for work while I needed to stay on the road to go to a conference in Washington, D.C., so I checked into a hotel, which gave Choya the opportunity to rest some more.